Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of Entertainment Buzz, where we dive deep into the glittering yet often treacherous world of show business drama. Today, we're unraveling one of the most talked about incidents in daytime television history, the shocking moment when legendary singer Petula Clark was allegedly kicked off the set of ITV's Loose Women following a heated clash with fiery panelist Denise Welch. Imagine the scene: a studio buzzing with anticipation, the audience applauding as the iconic 1960s star, known for timeless hits like Downtown and I Know a Place, graces the panel for what was supposed to be a nostalgic chat about her illustrious career spanning over 6 decades. Petula, at 92 years young, with her elegant poise and silver hair catching the lights, sat down expecting light-hearted banter, perhaps sharing anecdotes from her days rubbing shoulders with the likes of Frank Sinatra and touring the world as one of Britain's first international pop sensations. But oh, how quickly the atmosphere turned from celebratory to combustible. Denise Welch, the outspoken Coronation Street alum and longtime Loose Women stalwart, known for her no-holds-barred opinions on everything from politics to personal struggles, was in her element, microphone in hand, ready to steer the conversation. What started as a seemingly innocuous discussion about the evolution of women in music quickly escalated into a verbal showdown that left jaws on the floor and producers scrambling. Eyewitnesses from the studio audience described the tension building like a storm cloud over the Thames, with Petula's refined British demeanor clashing against Denise's raw, unfiltered Geordie grit. As the cameras rolled, the world watched in real time, or at least, that's how it felt when clips leaked online hours later. A generational and stylistic rift that highlighted the raw underbelly of live TV. But to truly understand this meltdown, we must rewind the clock, peeling back the layers of these two formidable women's histories, their triumphs, their trials, and the cultural contexts that shaped their unyielding spirits. Fast forward to the heart of the storm, the panel's pivot to a discussion on ageism in entertainment, a topic Loose Women loves to dissect with surgical precision, often featuring raw confessions from its panelists who stared down the barrel of typecasting and fading spotlights. Petula, fresh off a sold-out residency at the Royal Albert Hall celebrating her 90th birthday just months prior, was the perfect guest, a living testament to longevity. Her latest album Forever Young topping easy listening charts and earning nods from Adele herself for its poignant covers of lost loves and resilient spirits. She spoke softly at first, her hands folded like a queen's, recounting how at 92, she still fields offers for duets with rising stars like Sam Smith, who once called her the blueprint for unapologetic artistry. The audience cooed in admiration, but Denise, ever the provocateur with her signature tousled bob and bold lipstick, wasn't buying the fairy tale. "Look, Petula, you're an absolute legend, don't get me wrong. Downtown still gives me chills, but let's be real," she began, her Tyneside accent thickening with passion. "The industry chews up us women after 40, and you got lucky because you went global early. What about the lasses like me, slugging it in soaps, fighting for scraps while blokes like Mick Jagger prance about at 80? The studio fell into a hush, broken only by the faint hum of overhead lights and a smattering of nervous coughs from the crew. Petula's eyebrows arched, a subtle shift that spoke volumes. Years of navigating press junkets and jealous rivals had honed her poker face, but this felt personal, an undercurrent of resentment bubbling from a woman who'd impersonated her glory days for a laugh on national TV. "Denise, dear, luck had little to do with it," Petula replied, her voice steady as a metronome, laced with that posh inflection honed in BBC playhouses. "I worked through the Blitz as a girl, sang for soldiers missing limbs, crossed picket lines in America when it could have ended my career. Resilience isn't luck, it's survival." The exchange crackled, viewers at home later tweeting fire emojis by the thousand, but on set, it was the spark to dry tinder. Other panelists and audience Owalha with her empathetic nods and newcomer Olivia Atwood trying to steer with millennial quips sensed the rift widening. Denise, undaunted, pressed on, her body language shifting from open to confrontational, arms crossing over her emerald green blouse. "Survival? Aye, but let's talk privilege. You hobnobbed with presidents. I was on benefits raising 3 lads while battling bipolar in the public eye. Now, let's zoom in on the boiling point. That electrifying 5 minutes where decorum dissolved and raw emotion reigned supreme, transforming Loose Women's cozy red couches into a coliseum of clashing egos. The topic had shifted to legacy, how artists endure beyond hits, with Petula citing her UNICEF ambassadorship and environmental anthems like Color My World, tracks that blended her signature optimism with calls for unity in a divided world. She spoke of collaborating with younger acts, like a recent remix with Dua Lipa that bridged 60s swing to club beats, earning her a spot on Glastonbury's Legend stage last summer, where 100,000 voices sang her praises under a rainbow flag sky. Denise, sipping water to mask her rising ire, interjected with a laugh that didn't reach her eyes, "Legacy's grand, but it's easy when you're the golden girl who never had to claw from the gutter. I mean, Petula, you swan off to France in the 70s for tax breaks while Oslo dealt with 3-day weeks and struck us a bit of a tone-deaf tale." The barb landed like a slap, evoking Denise's roots in Newcastle's shipyards, where her miner father instilled a fierce class consciousness she wields like a broadsword on air. Petula, whose own father managed her career with paternal protectiveness, straightened, her brooch glinting like a badge of battles won. Tone deaf, "I've sung in coal mines for numb benefits." Denise raised funds for striking families when politicians turned away. "Perhaps your version of history is as selective as your impersonation of me, charming, but not quite the full note." The studio erupted into literal gasps, a chair scraping as an audience member leaned forward, phones discreetly filming despite signs forbidding it. Denise's face hardened, years of defending her mental health narrative on platforms like This Morning flashing before her. The 2012 separation from Tim Healy announced Live, the celebrity Big Brother win that silenced doubters, the pride in son Matty Healy's 1975 fame. Impersonation? That was homage, you daft bat. I honored you when you were coasting on Rare Unza. I gave downtown new life for a generation that thinks Petula's a flower shop. The insult, daft bat, a northern colloquialism for fool, crossed an invisible line. Petula's eyes widened, her hand trembling slightly as she gripped the microphone. In that instant, the age gap yawned. The 92 versus 67, eras of deference versus directness colliding. Enter the eye of the hurricane, the chaotic ad break that never truly broke the tension, as whispers turned to shouts behind the soundproofed walls, and what was meant to be a quick powder touch became a production nightmare etched in ITV folklore. With the red light off, Petula remained seated, her composure a fragile veneer, accepting a glass of water from a sympathetic pa who'd seen her perform at the Palladium decades prior. "Steady on, love," the assistant murmured, but Petula waved it away, her mind replaying the slides, each one a needle pricking the balloon of her hard-won serenity. Denise, meanwhile, paced the green room adjacent, venting to co-star Janet Street Porter via phone. "She's all high horse. Jana thinks her old hits buy her a pass on the class chat." Janet, the veteran journalist with her trademark scars and sharp tongue, later recounted in her column that calls urgency, Denise's voice cracking between rage and regret, a microcosm of her public persona, bold yet brittle. Producers huddled in the control booth, monitors flickering with audience reaction shots, a half-stunned, half-enthralled debating whether to scrap the segment or spin it as must-see TV. Executive producer John K., clipboard in hand, weighed the risks. Petula's fanbase skewed older, loyal advertisers. Denise was the heartbeat, her candor driving 1.5 million daily viewers. Dawn breaks on the deluge. The morning after, when tabloids trumpeted the tale from every newsstand, Petula kicked out in Welch fury. Screaming from the Sun's front page, complete with paparazzi snaps of Petula's car speeding from the studio, her face a mask of composed anguish behind tinted glass. By 7 a.m., breakfast shows dissected it. Good Morning Britain pitting panelists in mock debate, Piers Morgan's successor crowing, "Denise is the voice we need." Petula's era is archived. While Lorraine Kelly touted sympathy for the veteran, social media was a war zone. Petula's official account, managed by her daughter Barbara, posted a cryptic lyric: "When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go elsewhere," garnering 50K likes and hours, fans flooding with 60s vinyl pics captioned "Queens don't crumble." Denise, waking to her phone's blaze in her Cheshire home, scrolled through the vitriol, trolls dubbing her bullying Welch, supporters hailing class warrior. She fired off a tweet, "Last night was passionate, not personal. Respect to Petula's trailblazing but truths must be told. #Loose Women." It amassed 100k retweets, her son Matty quoting it with a heart emoji from his LA tour bus, bridging indie rock to soap opera in viral symmetry. ITV, cornered, issued a boilerplate, "We celebrate candid conversation. No guests were removed against their will." Stay tuned for more. But insiders leaked memos revealing the scrambly PR execs drafting Petula's amicable exit narrative. While Denise prepped for damage control on tomorrow's show, Petula, jetting to a Paris interview with Le Monde, opened up sparingly. "It was a misunderstanding amplified by the spotlight. Denise is a force. I wish her well, but live TV isn't for the faint of heart or the very seasoned." Her elegance disarmed critics, boosting her Spotify streams 300%, downtown climbing charts like a time machine. Denise, meanwhile, faced Loose Women's war room, co-hosts circling wagons, Nadia admitting on a podcast, "We all have our moments." Denise is just louder. The panel rallied with a group hug on air the next day. Denise tearful, "I adore Petula. It came from love for the fight, not hate." Viewers forgave faster ratings hit series highs, ads for menopause creams and holiday alerts pouring in.